para Brahma tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai 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 Hanuman Gosai, Kripa Karahu Gurudeva Kinai. Sita Rama, Sita Rama, Sita Rama. Jai Jai Sita Rama. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Good morning, Bhakti Breakfast Club. I was saying to Daniel before that, since I'm always late, I'll have to call it the Bhakti Brunch Club. Or perhaps the lovesick, longing lunch club. But at any rate, let me move this to the side here. Bye-bye, harmonium. See you in a bit. At any rate, we're all here to explore devotion, to explore bhakti, to dive into bhakti, to awaken bhakti in our hearts. And bhakti is such an ephemeral concept, it's such an ephemeral journey. Ephemeral not meaning untrue or like fantasy, because it's very, 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 very real. But it's a term that we can't solidly put our fingers on, because it's an expression of the heart's desire, longing, complete desperation to be close to the source of love, to our beloved. You know, I would say to be close to God, but I know everybody has different concepts of what that means. So I just say to be close to love, to get closer to love, to be heard, to be seen, but not necessarily by our fellow humans, but to be seen by God. And that's what's so odd, because God sees us every second. I mean, God permeates us every second, every molecule, every incarnation, every moment of every moment. And yet we don't notice it, and we think, where are you? Have you noticed me today? So we practice bhakti. And how can you practice bhakti? You know, bhakti, that feeling of divine love, I'm totally convinced. I mean, I totally know nothing, but in my own experience, I still feel convinced that that blessed overflowing emotion of divine love comes only from God, comes only from grace. And you know, when I say God, it could also be meaning goddess, whatever, however you feel it. But it comes from grace. It's you know, grace is not a business deal. It's like, I'm going to do this, and then you're going to give me that. That is complete illusion, I believe, I feel. Grace is a gift. A gift that comes without merit, without deserving. It's a gift that comes because God is completely giving and completely loving and completely caring and benevolent. But so what do we practice in that case? Well, we've been, you know, lucky enough to have received divine keys from ancient yogis and yoginis, the ancient rishis, the blessed ones of old, who said to us, well, yeah, grace only comes from God. Nothing you do matters. But on the same token, there's things that you can do that make you open, that make you kinder, that make you walk a little truer in the path of love. We know that none of you can concentrate. None of you have clear minds. None of us have hearts that are always shining with brightness. But we're all droplets of God. So you might as well live your life in such a way that resonates that and remembers that. So they gave us mantras that are filled with divine energy and presence. And particularly in the bhakti world, they gave us mantras that are names, the names of God, the names of Goddess, the names of the deities. And the strange but wonderful revelation that in the spiritual world there's no difference between the name and that which is named. It's kind of different, like I read somewhere just recently, okay, if you're thirsty and you say the word water, your thirst isn't quenched. But in the divine realm, if you say the word Rama, Rama is there. Because there's no difference between that being and that name. So these are gifts that we were given. So I know here we are in Bhakti Breakfast Club. Most of you all, there's a small and beautiful group of people in this room, and then I'm looking into the camera and I don't see you all, but I know you're there watching, a group watching, and I know all of us are somewhat tuned into these kirtan mantras and to these practices. But there's another, I guess I'll use the word practice again. There's another practice in bhakti yoga that many of us aren't quite aware of, and it's just as important. And all the scriptures, all the devotional scriptures say it, and that's listening, reading, and hearing and singing the stories of God. And just like when we start singing a kirtan, I don't know anyone, myself included big time, that when we open our mouth and start singing, the song and the words and the emotion comes out perfectly. Mostly it doesn't, because we're just imperfect, lovable human beings. But it doesn't matter, because we have the intention and we have the prayer and we're saying the mantras, and the mantras are stronger than us. And the same thing is true for these stories. I feel completely unqualified to tell you the story of the Ramayana, or we might say the Ramayana, which is the story of Ram and Sita, of God and Goddess as humans on earth. The story of Hanuman, God as a monkey on earth, and all the characters, all the divine characters. The original version of the Ramayana that most people consider to be the original version was written by Valmiki. And Valmiki got it straight from God, and as he was composing it, Sita, the Divine Mother, was sitting next to him, and Rama and Sita's two kids, twin boys, Lava and Kusha, Valmiki was dictating it to Lava and Kusha so that they could then go and sing it to their father, Rama. Now that's qualification. The Ramayana version by Tulsidas, which is the one that I mostly read and that my guru, Neem Karoli Baba, encouraged us to read and to sing, was supposedly dictated to Tulsidas by Hanuman himself. Tulsi lived in Benares, and he prayed to Rama constantly, nonstop for Rama's darshan, Rama's blessing, and not just like mystical blessing. He wanted his physical, absolute presence. And there's a story about that, which I won't tell you right now, but suffice to say that he got it. And from that day on, Hanuman was always with him, and Hanuman whispered the Ramayana to him. Tulsidas wrote it in Hindi, because Valmiki's was in Sanskrit. And at that time in India, 15th century India, nobody really could read Sanskrit except the upper class, the Brahmins, the more rich people. Everyone spoke Hindi. So Tulsidas rewrote it at Hanuman's dictation, and it was called Sri Ramachartamanas, which means the lake, the divine lake of Rama's exploits, which I always thought was like a really cool concept, the lake of exploits. I named the song.